Good morning. I hope everybody is doing well. As always, thanks again for all your support. The likes and subscriptions are really helping the channel, and I'm enjoying reading all your comments. I read them all. Please keep them coming. I've also begun adding shorts. You know, this 60-second portrait format mini videos. I won't add too many. That's annoying, and I'm not too fond of the format. It's kind of a TikTok wannabe. Oh well, please indulge me if you can. Thanks. This video is a follow-up to my video, The Best Under 10K High-End Turntable You Can Buy Today Comes from Canada. I'll link it below. Canada is not a wasteland for high-end turntables. Be sure to check out legendary Oracle, Jacques Riendeau's famous turntable featured in movies, and I'll link their site below. Anyway, back to today's upgraded turntable. The Canadian handmade turntable is from Vancouver manufacturer Pure Fidelity. They've been in business for almost 5 years and are making quite a name for themselves. From what I'm hearing, sales are strong due to the inherent value, their availability, and the consistent 5-star reviews from Audiophilia and legacy print magazines such as Stereophile. And the final thumbs up, 3 reviewers, including myself and the editor of Stereophile, have purchased their review units. And another is now considering a purchase. Yes, it's that good. The turntable in question is the Pure Fidelity Harmony Turntable Mark II. After a product has been on the market a couple of years, or less in many cases, lots of high-end manufacturers plonk down a Mark II label, change a capacitor manufacturer, or add one other minor functionality, and then jack up the price. Upgrades are like catnip to audiophiles suffering from audiophilia, so let's be careful out there. Back in Vancouver, the original Harmony, which I reviewed and very much enjoyed, has received several significant upgrades that have really improved the sound. I reviewed the Mark II in Audiophilia, I'll link it, and found it a significant upgrade. I'll go over some of those in this video in addition to the cosmetic and mechanical changes since the Mark II debuted. And these upgrades came with a no price increase, shock horror, in addition to designer owner John Stratton's improvements. I'll talk about our collaborative choices and a few other company add-ons that catapult the table to superstar status. A warning, my supercharged table does come at a significant increased cost. We'll discuss those increases and benefits as I show you the gear. If you watched the other video, you'll know of my 8 very happy, musically satisfying vinyl years with the Bergman Audio Magna turntable and its Tonearm. A completely different beast than the Pure Fidelity. It was Danish-made with a gorgeous Bauhaus design and had an air-bearing platter and an air-bearing linear tracking arm. It retails for $13,900 US. I loved it and wrote about it in Audiophilia several times. It was a favored reference. Much to Stratton's chagrin, his Harmony could never quite match the exalted Bergman level. The Magna was almost 4K more expensive. I loved my original Harmony also and used it on my mono setup. With the Miyajima Labs Infinity cartridge and the jack-of-all-trades, master of many, Phasemation EA350 Phonostage, it was a perfect fit in my vinyl setups. Then a calamity, at least for an audiophile using his system every day for work. The Bergman's speed controller board failed. I mean, that can happen. Bergman very kindly sent me a replacement turntable, and I could use my mono setup until it arrived. The board requires soldering, etc., a lot for a ham-fisted musician. Long story short, 2 more boards failed. After an inner and very loud, out-of-frustrated rant, I found a Technics SL1200GR that I can use for my mono duty, and the Harmony, now in Mark II guise, moved left to the stereo position. Stratton was happy till I mentioned that even now gone, the Bergman still bettered my Mark II by a sliver, but it was damn close. And the motor is a rock, and the table is still 4K less than the Bergman. I should add that Bergman Audio is run by 2 wonderful Danes, and I attribute my bad luck to a fault in the run of speed controllers. However, 2 significant upgrades have now elevated the Harmony Mark II performance to exceed the Magna. One upgrade is still included in the less than 10K price, a superb value. However, the other upgrade is a doozy and brings the Harmony Mark II to a little above the Magna's MSRP. But with a 15 to 20% increase in performance, supercharged. So let's show you first a few cosmetic improvements. Let's begin with the smallest upgrade, a $350 upgrade if you want to buy them retrofitted to the Mark I. These are the Acoustics Gaia 4 feet, and these were specially modified for the Mark II. They are beautiful, they are precision made. Acoustics have a great reputation for isolating devices to make them sound at their very, very best. I would suggest you read Carl Sigmund's review of the Gaia feet at Audiophilia. I'll link it below. And Carl really gets into the nitty-gritty of why these work so well. Let's talk briefly now about one of the cosmetic changes. A very small change, but it has a big effect visually. The plinth now has a 5mm cavity to sink the platter, allowing it to appear completely flush. It is a small change, but improves the look of the platter, especially when spinning. Stratton used a 3mm acrylic plate to cover the bottom of the hollow, and I'll put pictures of both above. Next, the speed controller. The Mark I Harmony had the Maestro, which was a very good speed controller, solidly built, little toggle switches that really clunked when you used them, felt great, and it kept at rock solid speed. John upgraded to the new speed controller, which is called the Conductor. And it's, as you can see, the visuals, it's much larger. It's about a half-size component, where the Maestro is a quarter-size component. It's much more solid. Now, if you purchase this individually, it's $2,500 US. In my naivete, and knowing next to nothing about speed controllers and their importance, I was quite shocked at the cost of the Conductor, $2,500 if added separately, and a half-size 11-pound component compared to the diminutive Maestro. Remember, the Conductor is included in the same price as before, which is quite amazing. After 5 minutes of listening with the new Conductor, you'd have to pry it from my hands. Yeah, it's that good. John Stratton tells us the Conductor is 100% designed and built in Vancouver. A microprocessor, basically a computer, sends the exact frequency to the AC motor for precise speeds of 33.3 and 45. Secondly, you can adjust the speed without opening the unit as you did with the Maestro, now in one chassis, eliminating a set of connecting cables. I was astounded at the effect the speed controller had on the sound. Really a significant difference. I mean, the Mark I and the Maestro were wonderful, but it was a real upgrade. And I was understanding a little bit more why it was a $2,500 upgrade, but again, at the same price as before. So I decided to ask our advisory council at Audiophilia. He's a really brilliant man, knows a lot about high-end audio, been in the business for many years. And so I sent him a question as to why the Conductor is such an important sound upgrade, and he wrote back a very interesting response. He said, "I can understand that. Aside from the foundation of the turntable itself, the speed controller is the second most important part, followed by the Tonearm, preamp, and not surprisingly, dead last, the phono cartridge." So there you go. John spent some time and some money and some investment and research and listening with this Conductor, and it's a tremendous upgrade. Really wonderful. Very highly recommended. So now to the Tonearm. I want to talk to you about the Tonearm that you get with the Mark II, but also the upgraded one that I chose. So they're from Origin Live. It's a boutique manufacturer of quality turntables and Tonearms in Southampton, England. It's a family company with owner Mark Baker and his sons Luke and David doing the bulk of the design and manufacturing. And they've been producing analog products since 1984. Origin Live produces 6 turntables and 9 Tonearms. The Tonearm I chose is the Enterprise Mark IV. It retails for $6,995 US. Not cheap. Now the Tonearm that you get standard with the Harmony is the Origin Live Encounter Tonearm. And that by itself is about $24.95 US. Again, all for the same price of under $10K. Now adding this Enterprise Mark IV jacked up the price of my turntable completely, supercharged it to about $15,000, which is about the same as my Bergman Magna, maybe a little bit more. But that arm, the review is coming up next month in Audiophilia. That arm is very, very special. One thing I didn't really touch on in the last video was this record weight that comes standard with the Pure Fidelity. It's absolutely beautifully milled. It's 745 kilograms. and really holds the record down beautifully. It's gorgeously made. John Stratton calls it the Pure Fidelity SS10 stainless steel record isolator. And this retails separately for $350 US. Again, it's 750 grams. It's brute on cute tiny ball bearings. Stabilizes the record and improves the sound even more. Highly recommended. But I use a different one. One that created quite a bit of, not so much controversy, but skepticism. And I can understand why, but let me just tell you a little bit about it. This very interesting looking device is called the Ansuz Acoustics Darkz T2 Supreme Record Stabilizer. And it retails for, you're sitting down, catch your breath, 6,700 euros. So reviewing one of these, and the reviews on Audiophilia, I'll link it below. It's pretty daunting. So no matter the time and technology invested in the concept and the manufacturing and the perceived performance of it, for casual readers and audiophiles, lapsed and dedicated, and folks in the business, it could mean approaching the review with some skepticism. So I'm not going to mention the price again, but I will tell you this has an incredibly good effect on my system, on my vinyl playback. It's made out of, I think it's grade 2 titanium, solid. Also, it's made of zirconium, which is very difficult to work with and very expensive. It's also spent some time in a particle accelerator, if you will, which does something to the chemistry of this device. It's not a record weight, although it's quite heavy. It's not a clamp. It's a stabilizer. And so Michael Borison, who designed it, who I think is a genius, and does all the Ansuz products and the Borison speakers, it has an incredibly good effect on the playback. So basically what we want in vinyl is to lift veils, more and more veils to get into the real event. And this is what this does. And I will tell you, once you use one, it's very hard to do without it because it makes your vinyl sound so good. So that's it, the Harmony Mark II upgrades. And yes, of course, mine is now supercharged to 15 grand. But even before that, it was sounding better than the Bergman. Now it's just, with this arm, it's absolutely delightful. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.